Alright everybody, welcome to episode 20 of the Pipala show. Here with Osa Omoregie. Am I saying your last name correctly?
Yes.
Awesome. Alright, I wanted to have you on this podcast for so long. Anybody who doesn't know, Osa and I went to the same high school also. Tommy, our producer, went to the same high school. They're both 2 years younger than me. This is a really special podcast because this is the first time we're actually going to have it produced. So it's nuts. So I just want to say thank you, both of you guys, for coming on and for doing this. This is awesome.
Of course.
So you're obviously what would you call yourself? A free thinker?
Free thinker. I don't know. Honestly, I have no label for myself. I simply just exist in the mode that I think is the most optimal.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
And I just try to be authentically myself, but make sure that myself is also sweet.
I see. The last time I saw you was probably when I was a senior in high school, and obviously you looked completely different. You had a glow up, no homo. So obviously I see your Snapchat all the time. You're in the gym, you're always putting out these interesting opinions. How did you get to that point from the quiet kid who obviously walked around? I didn't really know you that well, to be honest, to obviously who you are today.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. So, the thing you said about the quiet kid, honestly, I wouldn't even describe myself as that, earlier in, my high school career. But for some reason, people, I remember I talked to, who was that? I saw a couple days ago. Whatever. It was someone from, a grade above me, and they said I was, the quiet kid as well, so I just thought that was interesting. But the transition, I think, was... Let me think. I think it was the end of my junior year is when... I wouldn't say I was, in a terrible spot, but it was, probably just a spot of just, darkness in my life. I wasn't going through, horribly traumatic or anything, but, people just get, low. And I was like, you know what? I can't stay on this path. I have to get to a point where I'm literally always improving. So then I just started doing that from junior year, and I'm just here.
Huh. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that was right around the time with COVID and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Right? It was COVID. It was really just because of COVID. It was just a dark time.
What do you feel about that? Everything that whole time, everything that went on.
The COVID period.
Yeah, because I feel the world changed, man.
Yeah, honestly, I think COVID is when I found myself, really. And that's when I had always been, playing guitar and stuff, but I think it was during COVID and lockdown that I really found out that music was my passion. And music itself, the pursuit of, excellence in art, allowed me to think about pursuing excellence in myself. So I just started doing that.
We have, a lot of, I don't want to call it, shitty music, but it's, the music now that they make, it lacks substance, if that makes sense.
The popular music, the TikTok music, there definitely are still musicians that are putting out great stuff. People the boomers that say this music sucks. No, they just haven't looked beneath the surface.
Yeah.
But the surface level, what's winning awards and stuff, is just
it's awful.
It's just not. It's not honestly. As a musician, there are things that irk me, and I just can't listen to it.
Go ahead. What irks you?
And I don't really have any examples of that. Maybe things like that. Maybe fucking WAP or some shit like that. Because that's just a mind fuck in the worst way possible.
Yeah, I agree.
But most of it, the popular stuff isn't bad. It's intentionally catchy and easy to listen to. It's just the words. The words themselves, they mean nothing really. Yeah. It's just baseline stuff, and also the music itself is also just nothing as well. So it's just it just feels all the music is just low effort nothingness. Yeah. That's how I can describe it.
I get that. 100%.
It's just meant to be catchy and sell it ears and get many people's minds into the same hive or whatever. I don't know.
Makes sense. My main critique is rap. And how you go all the way back to Jay-Z, Nas, you want to go further, NWA, that, right? They were actually rapping about stuff. They would tell stories. You go back and it's really these intricate bars.
Yeah, exactly. It's
put
poetry.
Together. It's a story.
Yeah.
And albums, they would have an intro, and then same thing. It would be a story over the course of an album with all these collections of little individual stories. Now it's like just a playlist.
Yeah, exactly.
Songs that don't go together until you get to what Playboy Cardi has, A Whole Lot of Red, and like he's literally saying the same word over and over and over and over like this like psychedelic trap beat. And for some reason, people think it's like amazing.
Yeah, like oh, this is the craziest thing ever. Like
this shit's gas.
Like, so I think it's catchy stuff. Like I'll still like put it on like at a party, and like I'll enjoy it. Or if someone puts it on like in the car, I wouldn't be mad. But I'll just start bumping onto it. But to sit there and listen to it for like hours on end and like have that be your main music choice, it just doesn't make any sense to me, honestly. Because you're just listening to the same thing in your ear, just like for hours. Well, I just can't take it at a certain point.
I saw something on it was either I think it was your Snapchat story, but you said something about, do you listen to music for the lyrics or for like the beat? Is that something you remember saying that?
I don't think I said that exactly, but I can talk about that.
Yeah.
So
dive deeper into that.
You can listen for both. And the thing about rap is, as a musician myself, I work with like a lot of notes and stuff, and I'm in the classical music, jazz, stuff like that. The music of the beat isn't that interesting, but the thing is, it can't be that insane because it'll start overshadowing the lyrics.
Yeah.
So, I guess that's just like a fundamental flaw I have with the rap itself. And like, I love rap. It's probably like I would say it's probably my fourth favorite genre. But this is a fundamental problem. Like, you can't make the music so insane that it overshadows the lyrics. Yeah. And then the problem with rap today is like, here's the main thing: the music isn't insane, nor is the lyrics insane. So like, what are you even getting? You know? But like, again, that's just like most like modern stuff. There still are insane rap that's coming out.
Yeah. It's just like underground.
Yeah. It's just not what's winning the attention of everyone.
Yeah. It's all like watered down. What are the three other genres then above rap for you?
So for me, classical music, metal and rock, jazz, and rap, and those are my favorite genres. And then everything else after that, it's like whatever. It's still good music to me.
Classical music, like what's like an example of like a song that like everybody would know?
Like Beethoven.
Okay.
His name Beethoven.
Okay. And then rock. What are you like into for like rock? Because like I feel like that's a genre that like it's underappreciated, and I feel like it's dying basically. So
I think rock is appreciated enough that it's like not a dead genre yet. It's just the people that listen to rock that like are musicians. They're almost using rock as like an aesthetic to like get away from rap. If that makes any sense. You know, it's just weird. It doesn't feel like they're truly into the music.
I saw something on Twitter. It was like, because Stranger Things is like this 80s based show, and it had all these songs from the 80s. One was from Metallica.
Yeah, Master of Puppets. Yeah, I'm actually watching Stranger Things right now. It's the first time we're watching it. I already love it. He really, like Eddie Munson, I was watching him and Stranger Things. I was like, I gotta start playing metal guitar again. And I started learning Master of Puppets again. It was it was great.
Well, it's crazy because Metallica's, that song that was in the finale, it charted. And so I feel like stuff like that, where kids, people like us, our age, like we don't really, besides, you know, people like you, for example, that like are into that genre, like we don't really pay attention to that. So like, for, you know, all these older songs to become popularized again, it's pretty cool because it's like introduced to a whole different generation.
So I feel like Metallica is like, that's trying to get a way to describe it. It's like pop music, but like a step up and maybe like one more step up. So like, it's really hard for me to just describe it, but put it into words. It's like, so you have pop music, right? It's like the bass line, like it's acceptable, and then you have like one step up, and I would say that stuff like, think of a good like rock band example. It's like one step up from pop, like Led Zeppelin maybe, because their riffs got more intricate and stuff, and then Metallica is like one more step above that in terms of musicality, but it's still popular music as well. So like it has like this best of both worlds feeling. So like people can listen to it a lot, but it's also not like beginner level stuff as well. So it's just interesting like that.
Like when it comes to rock bands, what are like your top favorite ones to listen to?
My top favorite rock bands of all time. I lump rock within with metal, so I'll have to say There's a band called Dream Theater. There's a band called Opeth. Those are my top 2 favorite. And then for the third one, I'd have to say probably this band called Animals as Leaders. This guy plays the A-string guitar. I stole his haircut.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it looks good, man.
Thanks.
Like I said, like I remember seeing you had like a buzz cut, or maybe it was like a little bit grown out, but like
no, basically it was a buzz cut and I let it grow, and then it became like wild, and then I just flipped it over.
I mess with it. It's nice.
Thanks.
When it comes to like going back to, because I wanted to talk about this, we've on the podcast with different guests, I've like had conversations where we debate if like music is like new music is worse off than older music, if that makes sense.
The thing is, I can't see it surviving as long as the classics did from like the 80s. Like a song like, what's a good example? Would you have like an example like a classic like 80s song that everyone still knows?
Running Up a Hill. Isn't that what that song is called, by Kate Bush? Everybody's listening now.
Yeah, like
Stranger Things.
It's still like it's still going to be surviving for a while. But the stuff today, like you literally hear a hit song come out last month, next month it's already gone, replaced by something else.
Yeah. There's a couple of outliers, Blinding Lights, for example. Stay with the Kid Laroi, Justin Bieber. After that, though, you don't really hear a lot.
Yeah, like in 50 years from now, people really don't still play that on the radio.
I don't think so.
Well, we'll have to see, but I really doubt it.
No, it's because there's no substance.
No.
Like you said earlier, it was just a bunch of like catchy stuff. Whereas if you listen to stuff from like the 70s, which I don't really listen to stuff from the 70s, but like 80s, 90s, like they're talking about something.
Okay, here's a good example of like, okay, so here's pop music, and then once both like the Beatles. The Beatles is a really good example because they're still pop music, but they have another level of musicality to them that makes them great, but they're still popular.
Yeah, they're all of them. How many are left? Just Paul McCartney?
Yeah,
is he the only one?
I think Paul and Ringo are left.
Okay, but like they're all so iconic. Like you still see all the records, the pop culture. It's still there.
Yeah.
Post Malone in 50 years, I don't know if Post Malone gets to that.
Yeah,
he had a good amount of iconic songs, I would think, for like our generation. But like, will he get to that? Just an example: Post Malone, The Weeknd, Dua Lipa. I feel like they don't put out music of substance. You know, it doesn't tell a story like the traditional pop.
It's just like, how can we get as many minds indoctrinated into our agenda as fast as we possibly can? That's That's like the darkest answer you could possibly get, because that's really what it is. I would say mostly at the like service level, it's like a marketing tool, but really it's just like, how can we get as many people to listen to this and subscribe to our beliefs?
I'm ready to go deep. Okay, so our generation loves to talk about like hookup culture, right? What if like there's just this grand plan to fuck us up? You start with music, for example. You base it kind of towards like sex, because that's what everything really means.
Yeah,
that's what even though it's watered down, like that's the message. And so you take away the songs that actually like tell a story for whatever reason, and now you bring up hookup culture, and now we're all so fucked up mentally. You introduce social media, and then you see girls, for example, that and I feel like they're the most like affected by this. They see like an unrealistic body standard of like Kim Kardashian. She photoshops all her pictures. She's not real, but they think, I want to get to that, but I can't. So
this is when the conspiracy theory starts. So I personally don't believe there's like a higher like society that's trying to purposely like ruin our society. But what's happening is like the same thing that happened with the Romans, is how like they flourish, right? And then after a while of flourishing, you get comfortable, you get weak, and then literally you just start having sex control everything. Like the Romans were just having hundreds of just like sex orgies. It was a time of rampant degeneracy. After, there's a quote that's like strong men create good times, and good times create weak men. We're in the times like right after the strong men create good times. So like you think about it, America hasn't been around for that long.
247 years.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the strong men creating the good times. America going through this, but now we're at the point where we're so comfortable, and we don't really have to work hard for everything. That it starts with the men, but you look at it. I mean, the charts, the testosterone of average men is just way lower. The number of sexless men has literally tripled in the last 10 years, and then you just get all this honestly makes me sad, but you just get all this these weak pussy men, that's what they are. They're just controlled by sex, controlled by women, controlled by money, controlled by the song you're talking about. They love it, and I just talk to them sometimes. I'm just like, bro, you literally have no values whatsoever.
Yeah, it's tough because it is sad when you think about all this, but you look at the Romans, lasted over 1,000 years. You look at the Greek Empire, about 350 years, and then Romans took over that empire. We're at 247, and we're already, like you said, showing all these signs of relying on things like sex. Everybody is so focused on social media.
And pleasure is also, they're just focused on pleasure.
In real life, it's the best it's ever been, but yet for a lot of people, for some reason, they're depressed.
Because it's the best it's ever been, you don't have to work for anything, and then if you don't work for anything, you don't get any values, and any values, you don't have anything else. You're just going along with everything that comes out.
Yeah.
Oh, the new TikTok came out. Gotta look at that. It's just
I had a TikTok, and it was last summer, and I was trying to blow up. I was trying to get famous, get big, and I would make videos reacting to shit, just trying to be funny. And eventually it got to the point where I had a couple videos that got deleted. So you appeal them, and some of them get appealed, some of them don't get appealed, whatever. So I was on live.
That's the stuff you can tell there's an agenda with TikTok. They remove a certain type of video. They always remove it. It's a certain type of video that goes against the status quo.
Exactly, but if it's a girl shaking their ass,
millions of views now.
By the way, full disclosure, I'm not sexist. I'm not a misogynist. For a couple of you that may think that, I'm just observational. Anybody can do whatever they want to do, but that doesn't mean that people can't judge you. Anyway, but yeah, and they could do whatever they want. That's fine, but if I'm commenting on a certain video, I stitch it, and I'm saying 5 seconds worth of I don't know, a joke after, and you flag it. The hell, and then so I was on live, and I was talking to 50 people, right? They say, after you post something, you go on live, you get more exposure, whatever. Somebody goes, okay, the first question was, do you support the LGBTQ community? I was like, yeah, anybody can be who you want. I don't care. Go for it. The second one was, what's your heritage? I was like, oh, well, Polish, I'm Italian, a little bit of Sardinian, Ashkenazi Jew, blah, blah, blah. And I said, but I wish I was just 1% black. 3 seconds later, they ended my live. 3.5 hours later, I get a notification that my account has been permanently suspended.
Wow.
So I had to create a whole another one, but even then, it hasn't been the same since. Cocksuckers at TikTok. I hate it, dude.
Yeah, I honestly don't like that at all. I hate, I'm black, but I can't stand, seeing just white men just get attacked because they're white as well. Because it's it reminds me of, black men get attacked because they're black as well, but just for a different reason. It's still prejudice.
Yeah, I'm not I don't care that people attack me or shit like that, but isn't the goal to be equal? You know what I mean?
Exactly. I don't know. People just got everything backwards.
Yeah, and even then you see, and I don't consider myself a Republican or a Democrat because the whole code.
I don't even try to ascribe myself to one of the political parties because literally it's just divide and conquer.
I feel like I'm independent.
Yeah.
This shit, but you see. The guy who ran for the governor of California, they called him the black face of white supremacy.
I don't even know what the fuck that means.
Neither do I. His name's Larry Elder. He's a conservative guy. Has a radio show, stuff like that. Came from Compton.
You know what's fucked up when cats literally go to the election polls and they see Republican or Democrat and they just hit either R or D because they fucking say it's the political. They have no idea what the fuck anyone is doing with the policy or anything. Oh, Democrat, gotta vote for him. Republican, don't vote for him. No, it's Republican. What is that?
I feel like we should have something similar to what the UK has, a multiple party system. They have the Conservative Party, they have the Democratic Socialists of America, I believe they have the Federalist Party, and then there's one more. But stuff like that where there's a handful at least of people from each party that are representing the people of the UK. I feel like we should have something like that because this two-party shit, it reminds me of like when we were little. I don't know if you're into the NFL, but
a little bit.
The classic Browns and Steelers argument, and it's like it's just like that in terms of like the toxicity. I just think like there's no good that can come from this.
No. The problem I have, like a strong opinion I have about the government, is like the way our democracy is set up. I mean, I know we have the electoral college, but honestly, that's not enough. The problem is that most people, in my opinion, are simply not knowledgeable enough to make a good decision on who to vote for. I wouldn't say I am either. I don't get the politics at all.
Yeah.
Like if I like rule the USA or something like that, like under like my government, I would not be qualified to vote. Like, you know.
I don't think a lot of people are, and I don't think it's necessarily our fault. Everybody has so much going on. You know, they don't have time to like find out every single thing about a potential presidential candidate. But then our media, like the mainstream media that we're supposed to look to tell us everything about each candidate or person.
Yeah, literally, it's just arguments. You look on, like, I don't know, the news channels to figure out what's going on. They're literally arguing about problems that if you literally had a shred of fucking human sympathy, it'd be the easiest answer of all time.
Exactly.
I don't even know.
And it's like in 2-minute intervals too. Fox, CNN, MSNBC, they're all bad in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't like any of them. It's crazy because my parents will watch Fox.
They just they take the information just a little bit each time, each one.
My parents will watch Fox and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Different commentators will say, oh, we don't support the war. The Iraq war was bad. But then if you look, 10, 15 years ago, they were supporting the Iraq war. And it's like, how do you switch your views on that in front of people?
Stuff like this in general, it's interesting to talk about, but I honestly feel like we can talk about this for like an hour and still not get anywhere. Yeah. I think it's important to address that this is what's going on, but what needs to happen is how we go forward and start to mend this brokenness about society, I guess.
I agree. And that's why like I subscribe to Breaking Points on YouTube with Crystal and Sagar. I was watching Joe Rogan and they were on. He kind of introduced me to all that. And then the Kyle Kalinske show. He's like on the left, but he's really I feel like he's unbiased with his opinions to a degree. He's a really reasonable guy. He explains everything well. So I like those two forms of media, both accessible on YouTube. But now we get to the point where I also wanted to ask you this question. What do you feel like the next 10, 15 years, the future of the U.S., do you think it's trending upward or downward?
It's trending downwards. It's at actually like an alarming rate. Okay. Like, it's literally scary.
Okay, yeah. Tell me, like, what you feel about it.
So, essentially, just imagine all the problems we have now just blown up to, like, an insane proportion. So, like shootings, they're literally increasing. Like, the incels, they're literally increasing. Like, hookup culture, literally increasing.
Tell everybody what incel means, just so...
Incel technically means involuntary or celibate, but the real definition of incel it's not really a definition, it's more of a community. It's more of a group of young men that feel like society, the way it's set up, has denied them of the sexual gratification and attention from women that they want, and instead of improving themselves, they decide to lash out against women and against society, and do terrible things.
A good example is like in Batman. If you've seen the new Batman movie, everybody that like the Riddler, everybody that like goes with the Riddler, works for him essentially is like an incel. They're all same thing.
The society's messed up, so we're just gonna do terrible things to fix it.
Yeah, I can't lie, I'm scared for the future.
Bro. No, literally, no. It's. I was thinking about it, like, I was literally like meditating on like thinking about it. Like, if you think about it for more than like 20 minutes, bro, it's literally like horrifying. Because the world that my grandkids, I think that's probably the last generation I'll be like semi-okay. I think like my great grandkids, I actually have no idea what that world's gonna look like at that point. I'm actually like literally scared for that. Because you just look at everything happening now. Like, cancel culture, like there's an endless list of things that are just like messed up.
It's so crazy. You have you want to start with climate. You have the fires all in California, and
it's not even all this social stuff as well. Yeah, it's like climate.
You can only think that's gonna. Let's just say climate in general. That's one. you have AI and the growing threat of AI just day by day by day.
Yep.
You have the economy.
This is literally making my heart race right now.
Hold on, because I want to make a point here. There's a lot of bad stuff coming, but let me just keep going. You got the economy. Crime isn't doing well.
No.
I would assume mental health is getting bad.
Terrible.
Worse by the day. You could say suicide, but we can just combine those. Okay, there's 5 right there off the bat. Here's my fear. 2 things. Elon Musk is obviously a really successful guy, doing a lot of good for the world. But he has this thing called Neuralink. And what he wants to do is put a chip in the back of our heads, and it'll give us the knowledge of the gods, so to speak. That's what his ex-girlfriend said about it. I don't want to do that. I wasn't vaccinated. I don't feel comfortable with the government telling me what to do. So there's that. And things I don't know, I'm not going to get into that, but the point is, when you tell somebody that they can get a chip inside your head, I'm imagining it'll be very expensive, 1. 2, is the government going to be able to control you in with that chip? And 3, you're just changing what it means to be a human.
Yeah.
And
so fundamentally, yeah.
Right. Naturally, there's going to be some pushback. And you're going to create 2 separate classes of human beings. You have the really smart people, the people that literally they don't even have to Google an answer. I don't know, how long did the Roman Empire last? Click. It's there. We have to Google it. The normal people would have to Google it. And you create 2 different classes, and the one with Neuralink would end up, I feel like, ruling over everybody.
Yeah, I think anyone that supports an idea that we're trying to push human evolution past the point where it's natural, then no. Because I think it's pretty obvious, like, humans are absolute fucking idiots. Like, even, like, the smartest among us, like, we're just dumb. Like, we're just not that smart in the grand scheme of things. And we're trying to push our minds past the evolution they would naturally go through if we're literally just, like, living. Yeah.
It scares me, because, like, what's, like, the moral aspect of that, too? Like, I wouldn't call myself super religious, but I'm Catholic. I believe in God, everything like that, but, like, what's the rule there? That's one of my fears, is, like, I'm terrified of going to hell.
Yeah.
Terrified.
You should be. That's probably the worst conceivable thing.
That's the number 1, like, threat. At least from, Catholic Christian perspective, and how, like, nobody in the mainstream really, like, talks about it. It's just not reason, because we're not focused on, like, religion as a society. I feel like in terms of, like, traditional religion, that's probably right now it's, like, the least amount that we, like, trust in religion. Compared to, like, politics now, where politics are, like, the new religion. What do you feel about that?
Okay, so with religion, me, myself, I am a religion skeptic by nature.
Okay.
But the problem with our society not focusing on religion is that we're forgetting morality with religion. So that's, like, kind of dying with religion. So things like religion, like, preach against, just, like, drugs, sex, all, like, the
Lord's name in vain and stuff,
that has to tie into morality and, like, the human psyche. And the problem is that in denying religion, we're denying all those values that people had followed. And it's fine to question them, but it's not fine to just all around just drop everything that our previous people just had. There's a quote from my favorite classical composer, Mahler. He said, tradition is not the worship of ashes, but it's the preservation of fire.
Explain that.
So, back to religion, like, the fire of religion, you can't just let it die. You have to look at what's there and continually to tweak onto it. Like, that's what, like, a bunch of philosophers like Nietzsche's big thing about Christianity was, like, Christianity is, like, it's the whole thing about it's, like, slave morality, and it's created for the weak to gain power over the strong. And the new religion should be to have everyone be equal and have us all go forward. So we can't just ignore Christianity, though, because we have to realize that was a base point, and we build on top of that. So, yeah.
I feel like, for whatever the reason, I have a question. So, what do you think? Do you think now the turmoil that we're all in, pandemonium across society, do you think that's because of, or is it contributed to by like a lack of religion?
It's a part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely like a big part of it. I think. Well, there's a lot of different factors into religion. Definitely a big part of it. What do you mean by that? How can you like expand on that? So, let me think about this for a second. So, if you're ignoring religion as a whole in society, like I said, you're getting rid of the morals.
Mm-hmm.
So you're essentially like removing a set code for human behavior, and I do believe we can never get fully to the truth of what's good or bad, but we can definitely get closer. A good way to think about it is that you have a 0 and a 1, and there's literally an infinite amount of space between the 0 and the 1, like decimal 0.00, like for infinity. You can either get closer to like, okay, let's say 0 is wrong and 1 is right. We can get closer to 1, but we can never reach 1 fully.
Yeah.
So if you're denying that there's going to be a code, then that means then everything's subjective, and you can just you can make that argument, but that's not going to get anyone anywhere.
Yeah.
And the point of it is to help people. So we can say, oh, it's subjective, but is that doing anything? No. Yeah. So you can't deny it, and it's just making people just have a mindset of like the YOLO mindset.
Yeah. Which I don't think that's a bad mindset to have, but like everything, like in moderation, they say. I know mindset and moderation. It's not like they don't go with each other, but like you have to. I don't even know how to explain it. Just for whatever the reason, you can't have that mindset all the time. So I feel like when it comes to like Christianity, for example, any religion, I feel like you can look around and see all religion's doing good.
I feel like each religion has some truth. And each religion has some faults. So you have to just take everything into a whole.
Yeah. Like, for like the super Christian people, for example, they're like the hardcore quote your Bible verse shit. Like, okay, that's fine. Be who you are. But the minute that me as a person, the minute that I see you slip up, I'm going to think of you different as a hypocrite. Yeah. I feel like when you have these infomercials on TV, saw one last night, pissed me off. This guy's like, super evangelical Christian, blah 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 blah. Jesus can help you, blah 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 blah. Here's my number. Get a free Bible. Okay. So what did I do? It was a website, along with the number. So I click on the website, and I'm a skeptic, and my mom's right there. Of course, she's watching Fox News, and I just happen to be there. Okay. So this guy, fire and brimstone, like the types of cool Bible verses, whatever. I go online, and surely enough, it wasn't like a ruse. It was like a legit thing. A free Bible, whatever. I put in my information. I'm thinking, okay, wait till he asks for the credit card. So I actually got a free Bible, but then I kept going because I'm curious. I'm a skeptic. I want to like question everything. And it has tabs on the thing. Purchase so and so, and I forget like the slogan on there, but it had something to do with like purchase for Jesus or something like that. I'm misquoting it badly, but like right under the link for the free Bible was all of this stuff, merch, towels, just China, anything. And I was like, why are you trying to sell somebody this? If this is the truth, if this is what you're trying to do, then just spread whatever message you're trying to spread. But like, why are you trying to get money for it? These televangelical, whatever they're called, pastors. It's like, why are you fooling these people?
Yeah, like, I mean, they have to make a living somehow, but like, if they do it so it's like their site set up so like directly under, I mean, I just kind of...
It's like, I wouldn't say priests, but like, priest is like a different category, but like when you get to like these evangelical, like these big churches, and you get to a point where it's like these pastors are rock stars. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like in if they say, I'm sure some people are gullible, some women are gullible. Hypothetically, say the pastor says, "Oh, if you suck my dick, you'll go to heaven."
Yeah.
And some women will believe it.
I mean, that's real. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that crazy?
Yeah.
Am I crazy? I shouldn't be crazy.
No.
You know what I mean?
That's actually real.
And like, that's not just that. There's obviously other religions, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, we literally had a part of Christianity when like what was it, like reparations, something like that. Like people pay to go to heaven and shit.
Yeah,
like that.
what's that called?
I think it was reparations, right?
There's this thing called papal infallibility with the Catholic Church. Basically, and I don't know if this is the same thing, but there's this concept that would happen. So, priests would take bribes and say, "Oh, you pay me this amount of money, you'll go to heaven."
Mm-hmm.
And that was just an accepted thing for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
I remember learning about it in Catholic grade school.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like, and that's another thing too. People want to complain about like what history should be taught. I'm not like a biased person at all. Just teach what happened. Don't leave stuff out.
Yeah.
That's another thing too. I want people to be educated like on what actually
History is definitely
happened.
important to you.
Yeah. So another thing, getting to that whole thing. What was like your reaction to like what happened in Florida when they like the critical race theory stuff and they said like such and such can't be taught? Because I don't really have like an opinion because I didn't read up on that too much. I don't know if
I didn't read up on that much too much either.
I don't care if it's taught anyway, just make it how
you have like
it
a
was.
baseline knowledge of it?
Yeah.
Could you like explain it?
So it's kind of like cancel culture now, I guess. But the whole thing is like there's this lady named Nicole Hannah Jones, and she started this thing called the 1619 Project.
Mm-hmm.
Basically what it says is that America wasn't founded in 1776. It was founded in 1619 with like the slave trade and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Basically saying that white people like are oppressors and stuff like that. I don't have like a particular stance on it.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is like it made a lot of Republicans mad and a lot of Democrats supported it, I guess.
So stuff of that nature, it's true to a certain extent that I guess like people are like oppressors.
Yeah.
But it's such a small amount, and that oppression nowadays is practically zero. Like the same like oppression they had like during the slave trade is practically zero in America now. So to use that as like an excuse is like yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, obviously it was a terrible thing that happened. Yeah. But it happened so long ago, and people want to say that. Not me. I've never been in a scenario like this, but I see people on YouTube, for example. Your Ben Shapiro's. You have people like that, sort of people on the right who go to like these college campuses, and students will talk out against and say, "No, you're the reason for this, so and so." But like, I wasn't hypothetically. I wasn't alive for any of that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not responsible for that. Yeah.
They're saying like you're benefiting from that or something like that. Like you're barely benefiting from that at all. Maybe like you start like in a better position, like your family, but like you. If you were in a position of power, like from there, like you would still definitely feel it. Yeah. Like you aren't like mega rich. Like you're not like you know.
Exactly. So I don't know. I feel like I just want history to be taught how it was. Literally, I don't care from what
even if you were of that beneficial of power, it doesn't do them any good to like still attack you. Yeah. That's the problem. Like people just want to attack anything they disagree with for any reason whatsoever. An interesting thing to do about yourself is look at things you disagree with and then literally try to find a way to agree with it. Exactly. Like, how could you agree with that?
Yeah, find out like what drives them to think like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I did.
People just don't want to like expand their view on the world. They just want to say, no, I'm right, they're wrong. Yeah. But no, it's mostly like everyone's right in a certain way. There's just back to the moral thing, there has to be a code to say, okay, this is more right than this is less right. Yeah. And we're just losing that as well. It all ties together.
I agree, yeah. That's like something for me. I really just started to question everything like right after the pandemic hit. So probably April, May 2020. I was like, I wouldn't call myself a hardcore Republican, but like I believed all that shit. Not saying like anything's bad or whatever, but it was the team. It was just how, parents were conservative, obviously, so I naturally took an interest in that side, whatever. But as I saw what was happening and I saw like the leadership, not like to single anybody out, but like the red team was corrupt too. You could tell. From like one thing I remember is watching Trump in like his daily press, the briefings, which gosh, for those entertaining. But he's talking about a COVID model, and he goes, not, a model. But it's like, dude, you're the president of the United States. I remember hearing an interview,
and it was Trump said something like, he says, this is nowhere near what he said, but it's like in the general like guidelines. He said something like, dude, this is so bad. I don't know how we're going to even fix this, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, you're literally our president saying, it's like, bro, what?
And then also the leaked phone calls.
Yeah.
Of him saying, this is like really bad. I don't know if that's what you were referring to.
It may be that.
But I have to put on a brave face for the American people. Like, tell us the truth.
Yeah, literally. I want to know what's happening.
Yeah. This
goes back to a really good question. If there was a meteor coming towards Earth, like that was going to destroy Earth like the next 20 minutes, well, would they tell us, or would they just let us get blown up to stop the panic?
I don't know. Have you seen Don't Look Up?
No.
Neither have I. But it's this Netflix movie that came out probably 2-ish months ago, and it's just like that. So you have the people the doctors or the scientists. So it's DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence, and they're like the scientists, and they're trying to warn everybody about this asteroid literally coming towards Earth, and it's gonna kill everybody. It's gonna wipe us all out. It's trying to it's trying to like mimic climate change, I guess, and provide a possible answer to like if climate change was actually like really like going to threaten us like immediately, how hypothetically the world would respond to it. Basically, at the end, everybody died. They couldn't warn everybody, but like it's like similar, I guess. But yeah, that was like the whole plot, basically.
So I think if a situation like that happened in real life, I prefer if they did tell us, but like a while in advance. I'm pretty sure they can. I'm not sure about the technology about it, like how far in advance they can tell us. But if they can tell us like a year or something like in advance, then I feel like if humanity in that last year could like band together and like I don't know. Well, maybe we might be able to like defeat the meteor, right, and have that get destroyed because we're all together on that. But if we can just come together and just like atone for our sins or something like that, then I guess that would be kind of cool.
I feel like we would definitely be capable of it.
Yeah,
there's been instances in the past where whether that's like countrywide after like 9/11 or Cold War with Russia or World War II, like everybody has united. Just in America speaking, in terms of the world, World War II would obviously be one where you had all these allied countries that came together to defeat, obviously the evil that was trying to take over the world. So it's definitely possible, and especially if it's threatening all of us, then I feel like the world could definitely come together because Russia, China, America, it's all the same planet. So
literally.
Definitely combine our forces, I would assume. I don't know. That's a reality I don't want to live in. But I feel like you make a compelling point though. Like I believe climate change is an issue. Do I believe that it's like gonna kill us tomorrow? No. But maybe if we can, then obviously it'll get worse. But I feel like we're in the phase right now where it's like we don't really see it, at least here. So it's in the back of people's minds.
I do see it a little bit like the seasons. They're like pushed back. The last time I saw a White Christmas, I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah. Like the last time I had like a White Christmas in Ohio was a while ago. It was like about 5 years maybe.
I guess you make a good point because temperatures, at least this summer, have gone up drastically. I work outside all day, so like we feel it.
The winter we had lasted into April.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was talking about like you don't see it, I was talking about like stuff like smog.
Yeah.
We don't have forest fires here. It's not like bad like that, but I see what you're saying. Yeah, bro. It's weird. Now that I think about that, we haven't got a lot of rain since like April, May.
No. But when it rains, it just pours.
It's weird. There's definitely something wrong, but the question is like, is this like just how the Earth naturally like heats up, cools down, or like, is this a legit?
It's okay. It is naturally how the Earth heats up, but we're speeding up at an insane rate. Like it's like, I'm not sure exactly, but it's like 50 times faster. Like we're just making everything like go way too fast.
I'm not a climate change denier.
Earth. So the Earth is gonna die either way. Like if humanity wasn't there, like it wouldn't last forever. But we're speeding up to a point where it's literally like we're sucking the years off the Earth. Just by us being here.
Yeah, bro. I feel like. What do you think we could do to stop it? Not us, obviously, by ourselves, but like, as a population because people say electric cars, but they don't realize the plants that make the electric cars run on coal.
Yeah.
And then, okay.
We just need to find a good resource. You know, Mr. Faust?
Mm-hmm.
He's really built on that nuclear energy, and that's
Bro.
honestly the future. But there's just too much of a stigma
Mm-hmm.
behind it because of Chernobyl and stuff.
I feel like, and somebody went on Joe Rogan's podcast like a week ago, and he talked about nuclear and how like it's all laid out for us. It's like you said, there's a stigma. Richard Nixon, despite like he's one of the worst presidents ever, but he literally planned for, I think the guy said like 40 nuclear plants to be built in the United States, but for whatever, well, obviously because like Chernobyl and stuff like that, it was scrapped because of the public fear and stigma.
Like Chernobyl was just like dumbasses. Like,
yeah,
like
it was a really old
that shouldn't even happen.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, only one person died.
Yeah,
and it was because of evacuation, and the person
was
old.
It just made an area inhabitable was the problem.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it okay? I feel like there's tourists now that like you see on social media. At least I've seen. There's like videos of it. Like,
if they could have like nuclear plants and put them in good areas to the point where they did have a problem, it wouldn't be that big of a deal, and just regulate them heavily. It was literally fine, but there's just too much of that stigma.
I think the guy on Joe's podcast said like there's a way to make it enclosed so it won't destroy a whole area.
Yeah, exactly.
The radiation, but yeah, bro, I think that if there was some way to convince the public that like nuclear would be the way to go.
Honestly, see, that's what our generation gets right though, because we're not so stigmatized about things.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like that's really what we're good with. We're not like biased about social and political issues that too much. So maybe we could be able to get that going, like our generation, like forward.
That's what I love about us.
That's positive. Yeah,
I feel like
we like. I forgot who said it. I was talking to someone, but our greats are so great, but our bads are so bad that it's just like
I feel like it's not all our fault though. Like for all you old heads out there, none of you are watching this because none of you have phones. But and you say we're all lazy, and you say that we are soft. That's the critique I kind of want to address because like I don't think people realize like they literally normalized us to school shootings, calling us soft.
Yeah.
Imagine if we were soft.
We're soft in a different way,
right? But like all this shit that's happening, if they were growing up back then and that was happening, they'd be horrified every day.
Yeah, literally.
They'd be afraid to go to school. But like growing up with social media and all these things that like you see other people doing, and in reality, most of it's not even real.
So we're hard, but like it's not due to like strength. We're desensitized.
Yeah,
that's the problem. We're not like strong in the traditional strength of like having like willpower and morals like that. We're just like desensitized to these issues. So and it can be a positive and a negative at the same time.
I feel like that though, that's not our fault not being strong in terms of like morals and stuff. I feel like it's a problem of like, I would assume the people Gen X or baby boomers, if you know, that raised us. Because I don't know about.
Yeah, they did raise us.
Yeah, like my parents, I feel like they did a pretty good job of like teaching us morals early on and like how to treat people.
Yeah, there's some really like messed up stuff though, like the parenting right now, like literally an epidemic of fatherless homes.
It's terrible.
Single mother, like it's actually just it pervades all races too. It's literally just the nuclear family is being destroyed.
Yeah, just
slowly. It's actually sad, and it's making kids just have more mental health. Like it's literally proven that not having a father in the home, not having a mother in the home, just makes it significantly more likely for them to have mental health problems, crime, obesity, all these things, and yet we're still like dissolving it somehow.
Jordan Peterson talked about that.
Yeah.
How do you think that happened? Like, how do you think we got to that point?
I honestly don't know, really. I haven't researched too much into that or thought about it too much, honestly. But I think, if anything, the reason is probably just... I don't even know. I'll have to look at that some more. All I know is that it's an issue is causing... I know what it's causing, but I don't know really what its root cause is.
I have an idea about, at least like the inner cities. So like you have all of these strict drug laws, right? The war on drugs, and disproportionately men get put away more than women.
Yeah.
It's just how it is. And you have all these kids growing up in the inner cities, regardless of what race, it's all the same. And the fact that people get put away, like, you have nonviolent drug possession and marijuana, whatever, they get put away for a certain amount of years. Well, like you said, kids that grow up in a single parent household are less likely to succeed compared to kids with two parents in the home. So like when you do that and you have literally a crime that's not affecting anybody, weed for example, once again, you're literally taking a father, a brother, an uncle, a grandfather out of the home.
There's also a really big issue with like father figures being destroyed, masculinity is being attacked by like feminism and stuff like that.
Talk about that for a little bit. What do you feel on that? Like, what do you?
So this is how we get into like starting to like fix these things. So what needs to happen is young men need to reclaim like their masculine essence. Like obviously, like we're all gonna like still be like men and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But there's just like there's a missing element of just this drive and aggression for like just young men in our society today to get things done and stuff. Like most people, like a lot of dudes are just like wandering around. They don't really have like goals. Like dudes like 50 years ago, like 20 years old, like they know what they were on their shit. Like they had to get a family, get a job, get their kid. But like, what are people like men these days doing? Like, they're fucking jacking off to OnlyFans and shit.
Exactly. And like this doesn't mean that you get to be a dick to women. Like we're not saying like that women aren't equal to. We're not saying that shit. It's just there's obviously a gap in society right now, and you can tell. It's throughout leadership. It's everything. For whatever reason, there's like you said, like a lack.
Like men are becoming too feminine, women are becoming too masculine. Like you see, like with women, like there's a big movement from to get like careers and stuff, and it's like this is a lot of what like Jordan Peterson gets attacked on when he says stuff like women would much rather be better off just being homemakers if they weren't like 100% having insane careers. And if you look at the statistics, he's right. If like most women, like unless their career is just like the bomb, they'll hit 30 and be like, wait a minute, something's wrong here. You know what I mean?
I kind of get what you're saying. I feel like anybody should be able to make like their own decisions.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
What I don't agree with is like this forced diversity stuff. Regardless of
all I know is that there are definitely natural roles for men and women to partake in, and when then those roles get blurred and mismatched, it's just
you have
negativity.
something like the end of the Roman Empire.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Example. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like
men, like we're trying to destroy the polarity in a like of men and women in the sake of equality. Yeah. But it's the differences in men and women that makes us equal. Like that's what makes us strong. Like, opposites attract. Yeah. We're trying to like dissolve those two, and it's very like it's almost like sick how it's happening. Yeah, it's just weird.
And once again, I don't want anybody to think that we're saying like women shouldn't have careers.
No,
despite what some of you may think about me, it's just like you said, there's kind of like you could see the gap. I don't really know how to explain it. There's really no way I could like pinpoint like specific examples. It just happens. There was a stat where it wasn't a stat. I think it was something Jordan Peterson said too. It was one of the maybe like the town hall lectures he had at like a college campus, and it was like something about the wage gap, and he brought up how like women are more likely to or less likely to take on these like positions with higher pay. Like that's just what they go for is like the lower whatever. Right. And like it was all based in like statistics. He was I don't think he's a guy that's sexist. He made like a bad decision on Twitter recently. I don't even know what he said. I just saw the tweet, but it was like I was kind of disappointed.
Yeah.
He attacked a girl and said like she wasn't beautiful.
Yeah, like he can get kind of carried away. I feel like.
But I feel like for the most part, he sticks to his guns, sticks to the stats. He's a clinical psychologist.
Yeah.
So
like I mean, no one's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody has their flaws. I just feel like that. I was like, it's not cool.
Yeah.
Beauty comes from like inside. Attractiveness is like the outside, but like you're gonna be with somebody so long. If you focus on like what's on the outside, but like you could literally find your partner for life if you truly like look what's on the inside. That's what I haven't found.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever find it, man. I'm just floating.
Ridiculously hard to find.
Yeah.
There's just something about the way that women present themselves on social media is like the opposite of like a good man is not looking on social media and seeing some girl's ass and being like, okay, I gotta talk to her.
I have been catfished.
Yeah.
So many times. I could probably count on two hands when it's like, okay, you're like beautiful on Instagram, and then some girls will show their ass for the likes, and you know what? More power to you. I mean, shit, if that's what you're going after, the attention, you got it. Got mine. But it's like, okay, we go on the date, and you look completely different. Literally, and I like, for me, I get like a mental image of like who this girl is, like how she talks, personality, whatever, and like I get disappointed every time, most of the time.
Yeah, it's really hard to determine what someone's actually like on social media.
Yeah.
Because even like the way I post, it's still kind of hard to determine what my personality is on social media. Like I remember I posted a while ago. I was like, I wonder what people actually think I'm like in real life. I'll face on my post. I have no clue.
Your posts are kind of wild.
Yeah,
though. I like it because like not a lot of people will like express their opinion like you.
Like, and people will express their opinion, but they're just not saying it. I don't know. It's weird.
I feel like you put a ton of like interesting stuff out there, which I want to talk about something that I recently saw in your story. You talked about psychedelics, and then you said that you recently did psychedelics. Could you like go into that and just like tell everybody about your experience? 'Cause I think that's so interesting.
Okay, so shrooms.
Okay, mushrooms for anybody that doesn't know the abbreviation.
And I would say the main thing that it did is that it allowed me to really take an objective look at my life and then see where it's going. And the way I was thinking on it, it was so positive for some reason. It was the most positive I was thinking in a while, and it allowed me to apply that positivity, because you can always think positive, right?
Right.
But it won't have like a real effect. But this was, I was thinking positive. It was having like a real effect on my mood and my thinking of life, and it just helped out.
So like, take everybody like through the process. Like, what happened? How long did it take for you to start feeling that? What did you like physically see?
So I didn't take too much, so it wasn't like an insane trip, but it definitely tripped. Definitely tripped balls. Looked in my eyes, and my eyes were really dilated. That was just interesting. But so, it took about an hour for it to kick in fully, and it kicked in while we were watching Uncut Gems. And the first thing I realized was that I could not watch it because there was too many things in it. Like it was like jokes and stuff, but it was like the jokes all felt like it was just, for lack of a better term, it was just too real. Like I remember I saw like a cross, and instead of Jesus being on it, it was like a prostitute was on it or something like that. I just couldn't keep watching it. It was literally just too disgraceful. Because it was like, okay, so like the shroom, like your shroom brand, you see everything for what it is. The goodness of what the cross represents being decimated with the prostitute on it. It was just like a complete, like, slap in the face to what is good, and I just couldn't watch. Watch.
You had like a profound, obviously, reaction to it.
I just left the room at that point.
That's
I just sat alone, and I was with a friend. I was at his house on my trip, and I was in his room. I sat down, listened to music. I was just sitting there thinking about my life, and that was when the positivity I was just thinking about it just came to me. It just really felt like my soul was just being uplifted, and it was like through the power of my own mind, I was just taking everything in my life and just saying, "Yes, I have this. I can go forward. I have the potential to do everything I want."
What do you see when you leave the room and you go to the room that you listen to music in?
I didn't have insane visuals, although the curtains were like literally dancing rhythmically, like they were like swaying side to side.
Really?
Yeah,
it
was like, you know, like the what are those, like the mirrors where it's like you look in the image and you move side to side, you see their part of the image. That was how the curtains looked. I was looking at them, and it was kind of cool, just to shoot visual. Also, my phone, like the numbers on my phone were like, it was like there was like fire around each of like the letters and stuff, and it's like kind of like moving a little more. So it's just kind of a cool visual.
What do you think that represented, the fire, like on your phone?
I really don't know. I don't think the visual's meant to it. I think it's just an effect of the shrooms being in your body. But the thing is, I could not look at social media at all. And again, like go back to the Uncut Gems thing. It was too real. Like I was seeing like borderline like demonic shit.
Really?
Off like looking at like social media and stuff, because you see like these hidden agendas and shit. You see the true message what people are trying to say, and like even if they're not even trying to say that in general, like you see like through everything. It was just I couldn't handle it.
Huh. That's so cool. Like you could see like the intent behind a social media post. I think that's fascinating.
Like when I looked at a post and it was like some dude, like you can tell he was like selling his like his like I guess like body to try to like attract attention, and seeing like the desperation of the attempt was just like, I couldn't handle it.
And you could for sure like see this more so when
and I'm not even saying it was bad. I was just saying that like
you saw it for what it was.
Yeah, I just couldn't handle like it was just too real. Yeah.
Okay, so when you're in the room, you're by yourself, you're listening to music. Do the mushrooms like change how you hear the music, how you experience the whole thing?
Honestly, I thought it would make the music more insane, but it really didn't. It was just kind of just nice in the background.
I got you.
It was just nice hearing it.
And when you had your eyes closed, like what are you thinking? Would you just see like black, or like is it like
you can't have your eyes closed for some reason? Okay. Like people say it's like you can't sleep on psychedelics. You literally can't. Like there's something when you close your eyes on psychedelics, so you just gotta open your eyes again. It's weird.
So, what were you thinking? Because you said you didn't have any like insane visuals, but the thoughts.
I was thinking about my life and just how I was thinking about myself and my place in the world and how great of a man I could be, and really like internalizing that. Like for some reason, ever since I was a kid, people have been telling me I can do great things, and people always say like you can do great things.
Yeah, everybody.
But I was really thinking that I'm like, yeah, I can actually do these things, and I still believe it too. Yeah. So it wasn't like the shrooms were like something insanely different. It was just like more like a positive affirmation.
Yeah, like a reinforcement.
Yeah,
that's interesting. So it
was a reinforcement to like the highest degree. Like you actually believe in me, and you feeling. I felt like the actual like potential in me, and like it was just a great feeling.
So your whole experience then, summing it up, like what do you feel you came away with?
Mm-hmm. Just a more positive attitude and a more confidence in myself.
Would you do it again, and would you do it at a higher dose?
I would do it again at a higher dose, and I know for a fact the next time I want to do it, I would do it in nature, because I did the shroom trip at night. Mm-hmm. I took it at like 12, and it lasted like 6 in the morning. I was up all night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
When the sun came up, it was the most beautiful thing I ever saw. Though.
Really?
It just made everything like more beautiful as well. I remember I went outside like half through the trip and looking at this. It was nighttime still, but just laying in the grass was just insane.
That's crazy.
Just seeing the nature.
I've always been so fascinated by that. You hear like Joe Rogan talk about it on his podcast, and he'll have other people talk about it. And just the whole idea that like
you have to make sure though that your mindset before going into it is positive. Because I remember how I did it was I hyped myself up for like an hour and a half before doing it.
How'd you hype yourself up?
I stopped looking at anything that could possibly trigger a negative emotion in me. I stopped looking at like social media and stuff like that. I just hung out with my friends and was just thinking about positive things the entire time, talking positive stuff. Anything negative, I just blocked it out.
That is what they say. It's a key. Like you can't. There's things that you can obviously
because and people have like horror stories like
bad trips.
Mm-hmm. I can tell because the best way to describe it is like. So you say you've never been high before. So the best way to describe it is that you're high, right? Like the highest you've ever been. But the thoughts you're having are like actually real. Like they're things about your family, about the guy sitting next to you, about what's happening like right outside the window. Like they're like real things that like can put you in danger. And it's literally so you're thinking about the real shit that like if you were sober you'd be scared about, and then you're high as fuck. So literally it's the worst combination of all time, and you're seeing shit. And everything's getting distorted, so like you can have a terrible experience. I can tell.
So like, if we were to, for example, take mushrooms, but as we're right after we consume, we go back to like what we were talking about probably half an hour ago. All the things that could go bad. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a terrible trip.
That is one thing. If so, we were talking with those things like in this environment right now, it'll still be fine because we're nowhere in a safe environment, stuff like that. It'd be but like if we don't make it bad, like let's say we were talking about that, and we were just like walking somewhere, and like we were just like at night or some shit. It was like scary or some shit. Like we were in a bad environment.
Or like watching a YouTube video about it.
That'd be fucked.
I see what you're saying.
It's really heavily dependent on the mood and the atmosphere of the place you're in as well.
Okay. What would probably is more apt to be.
It'd probably make it honestly just more intense, if anything. Just make it more engaging if we were on talking about that.
I got you. So hearing what like people, prominent people in the psychedelic community, or just famous people in general, have said, like talking about how they saw like God and they like felt the presence of God.
Mm-hmm. I definitely felt a presence of goodness. It was, I don't know if it was God or not, but it was a presence of like insane, like light. If that makes any sense. It was like a light was being beamed around me.
That's interesting.
Through my body.
They also say like it was like a warmth.
Yeah.
You felt like safe, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
But you can also get the darkness as well, and it'd be a really bad darkness.
I guess it's just would you say it's like what you go towards in the trip, or just how you set it up?
It's both, because there were times where I was literally trying. I'm kind of messed up, but I was like literally trying to make it bad, like thinking about messed up stuff, and I was like, wait a minute, okay, I shouldn't go there. But the thing was, as I was thinking about the bad stuff, the good overtook it, so it came out good either way. So it's still you get it.
What would you say to people that are watching right now that are like skeptical of like psychedelic drugs or mushrooms?
Just make sure that when you do it, you don't. First of all, you're not in a mental state where like you have like an anxiety or depression. You have to make sure you're in a mental state where like you're either neutral or already happy. I would say just try to be already happy, and then the people you're around play a huge role in it as well, because you feel just if like two people tripping together is like honestly an insane connection. So just make sure people you're around is also good as well.
You don't want to have mom around you, for example.
No. Well, so technically that'd be a good trip, but like,
well,
would your mom really like approve of you being?
If your mom's freaking out about it, I would assume it's gonna be a bad trip.
Yeah, literally. Okay, like if your mom was like yelling at you during your trip, you go insane.
Yeah. What are you doing,
dude? That's like
that.
Yeah, like that's mental.
Yeah. Oh boy, I can hear my mom right now.
Literally.
Because
okay, first you hear your mom, and then you'd be like, wait a minute. That's my mom. This is what birthed me. And then you feel the love of your mom, and then the hate, like, of her yelling at you, corrupting it, and it's a battle, and then it's just this.
I could only imagine. Yeah. The closest thing I've ever got is like I'm jerking off at home in the bathroom, and all of a sudden my mom walks in. Oh, it's like I'm soft, soft instantly. But yeah, bro. I feel like hearing you talk about this and hearing more people talk about it, like I feel like it's becoming more accepted in the world. You see doctors.
Yeah, there's like the research.
Exactly. More research is being done. I feel like it could really help people, especially like people with traumatic brain injuries.
I wouldn't say you have to do them, but I definitely say if you want to look into your mind just in a different light, then do so. But make sure you do it responsibly. Don't be an idiot and take like fucking 5 grams your first time and like don't do that.
Based off what I've heard, I feel like it definitely will help.
Yeah, you have to respect it. You have to respect the fucking drug.
Yeah.
Don't just be an idiot about it.
Okay, yeah. I think that's a good thing to come away from. Moving on, my second fear. I never told you the second thing. The first thing was Neuralink. But the second fear is, I feel like it's more imminent. So, say we have, let me go back, 2020, the height of all the chaos, right?
Yeah.
You had the George Floyd protests.
Yeah.
You had stuff with the lockdown. People were like, just assaulting property, throwing bricks through buildings and stuff. And because there was like uncertainty, all that stuff. My fear is that say there's a blackout. And it's for multiple days, and it becomes, say, a month. You're going to have places like New York that relies entirely on electricity, not only because it's a city, but everything's so close together. You have all the lights and shit. The power's down. People can't get air conditioning. People can't get electricity. Running water, who knows what that'll be like. Everything. So that goes. Refrigeration, that goes. So all the food goes bad. So then you have chaos. Now people lose all the methods to protect themselves because electricity gone. All these security systems gone.
Yeah, that's actually.
So the second thing that would happen in this doomsday scenario, the dollar collapses. Well, if there's a blackout and then the dollar collapses, you have no power, and then literally your currency is gone. What's going to happen? There's going to be chaos because now nothing is worth anything.
Yeah.
So people are naturally, in my theory, are going to go to probably the only reliable source of wealth that there's left, precious metals. They're going to be rioting, looting, just breaking into random ass apartment buildings or houses, like to get these precious metals because that's the only form of currency in the world. If that happens, it's going to be chaos.
Yeah, like absolute total, like purge type chaos.
I feel like with COVID, going through all that as like a society, we all realized,
we got a taste of it. Like we literally
a small glimpse, bro.
Like we think, oh, we can never do that. It's in the movies. COVID gave us a glimpse of that. No, we can get worse.
Bro, this shit can go full Mad Max 2 like that.
Yep.
It's crazy. Because in the movie, it's like this post-apocalyptic future in Australia. It was like in the late 70s or early 80s. What it was based on is like the Australian gas crisis. So it was really hard to get fuel. But they upped it a notch. So like everything is like a desert wasteland. And people fight over gas.
Yeah.
There's wherever the location that they drove, there's these people that are defending it, and then there's all these outlaws. Just everything has gone so crazy in this world where like these people are willing to kill for the gas just to survive. Yeah, and it's nuts. I feel like we could totally get to a situation like that.
Yeah, no, it's literally plausible.
Because like people don't realize like society is literally being held together by a bandit.
Yeah,
like it could listen. Who is telling you realistically that you can't drive on the left side of the road?
Yeah.
Nobody.
No one.
Who's telling you that you can't throw a brick through your neighbor's house? Nobody. You're doing that because that's the
we just rule. Have it because we're just comfortable how we are now, and it's safe.
Exactly, and we're conditioned to do all that.
There's no reason to do it.
For another example, economically, if we truly wanted to get back at the corporations for like the price of gas, which you could blame whoever, just don't get gas, and we could all do it, but we're just so used to the habit and stuff like that. But like, who's to say if there was a monumental shift like that, people just would go nuts and eventually eat themselves? Yeah. Like, we're animals too, and people don't realize like we have all the qualities to be really bad.
Yeah. The thing is, that's another thing about is bettering yourself is being able to get in touch with the side that's capable of it. Yeah. So like you think about like people in the concentration camps, like the prisoners, like people will sympathize with the prisoners, obviously. Right. But thinking about how you could be a guard in one of those camps and commit those acts, it's just a cool self-experiment to do.
I think about that too, especially with the topic of slavery, and you get a lot of people on the left like, oh, I wouldn't participate in that. I would stand up against it. But like, are you sure? If you're literally being threatened with death, are you absolutely positive that you would definitely not go along with that? I don't believe that.
You need to know that you have the capability to kill someone, and then just keep that under wraps. Yeah. So yeah,
it's all about like character. What would you do in that situation when nobody knows what they're gonna do until they're in that situation? God forbid you're ever in a situation like that. But like I feel like people think too highly of themselves, especially now.
I feel like people think they're so morally just, when in reality they're like...
Nobody's perfect.
No.
But like, when you're trying to... I don't want to say cancel, because I feel like people use cancel culture too much. But like, if you're just trying to shit on somebody's views, as whether or not they're like religious, political, because you disagree with them, and because like you feel like you're doing the right thing. Hitler felt like he was doing the right thing too, and you saw how it turned out. So like, I don't know, I feel like we should just let people be people, and we shouldn't shit on their beliefs or like what they whatever they feel.
The best way for society to go forward is that like, we have the ideals we have now, and then we just have to patch up all the holes that have to do with society nowadays. But the problem with that is that there are just so many holes, and there's so many are so big already that it's just like it's honestly damn near impossible to fix it like right now. Like I honestly believe that we're low-key done for. It's just gonna keep going down for like until we're just all extinct.
I don't have a good outlook on the future. I have conversations with my grandpa about this. and he's really conservative, really hardcore American. Believes in everything, and not to say it's
like people are insane. Like I have people that are like depressed or something like that, and they'll hold on to their beliefs, and they literally will not change, even though they're suffering.
Yeah.
If their belief is getting challenged, and it's even for their own good, they'll still hold on to their own belief, and they'll literally just keep suffering.
Yeah.
Like it's just insane.
I don't get it. There is something that I saw similar. A couple days ago, there was a hearing. So there was a teacher, and I don't know where she's from. I'm assuming somewhere in Texas. But there was a senator. His name's Josh Hawley. I don't know. I think that's his name. Anyway, he's a Republican. Whatever you would think about that guy, I don't agree with everything he says. He's a politician. But he was talking to this teacher on the stand, and he asked her. It had something to do with like what a woman was, or no. Do you believe men can get pregnant? And her response was, we have to like acknowledge that people. It was like trans women can be pregnant too, and she never really answered the question. She kind of danced around it, but she said like trans women can get or trans men. Can get
this
pregnant
whole too. Area of of topic is so fucked because. I mean, like, they're kind of right in their approach to it, but the thing is, it's just, like, people forget, like, back to what we were talking about earlier, that there is literally a separating line between men and women, and we don't want to acknowledge it for some reason, for equality or whatever, but...
I feel like the intent is good.
Yeah, the intent is good.
Trying to...
help people out.
Exactly, because transgender people historically have been
But sometimes... helping people out isn't always just pandering to their feelings. It's
exactly
telling them the harsh truth about what they are and what's happening to them.
I feel like people on these extreme
like the truth hurts, but they don't want to like. It's more about not hurting than telling the truth. It's just the truth should be the highest ordeal.
Yeah, and I feel like, especially
the highest
like
ideal.
These people all the way on the left, like they're going out of their way to allow people like that to not hurt. If that makes sense. When in life we all have to hurt.
Hurting is suffering is growth.
And that's not to say that like people should openly shit on people that are transgender.
No.
You can't be a piece of shit.
Right.
But there's a difference between growing in life and like, realizing like what's real. You can't like lie to people. You can't say something that's not true. I don't know. That whole debate is interesting to me because people should be able to make their own decisions. Right. I don't want the government telling people what to do. No. But at the same time, I feel a certain way about if parents make a child transition. Yeah, like I feel like that's shitty.
Yeah, that's weird. It just comes off as strange as well. Yeah. Like, I mean, even if like call me a bigot, but like that's just strange.
It's odd.
Like you're making your son become or like encouraging them to become a girl even before they're like 10. Like it's just odd.
I have a family member that is in the travel agency industry, and she said she's booking trips, whatever. And
you know what? Actually, sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
If you believe that a child cannot consent, then that means they cannot change their gender as well. Like, how can you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how are you allowing?
I think it's messed up. In the study, another Jordan Peterson thing. Ironically, it was like 90% of children who identify as the other gender. Before 18, they just turn out to be gay or lesbian. So if you just, I guess, give it time. Once again,
because the brain isn't even developed yet.
Yeah, and once again, this isn't to say that people shouldn't be trans. Like I can't speak for how somebody feels. I watched a Caitlyn Jenner interview.
Like I believe that people can be genuinely trans. It's just like the way it's presented, like how common it is. They can't all be like, you know.
I have no clue. All I know is like I watched a Caitlyn Jenner interview, Full Send podcast, ironically, and like he whatever you want to call Caitlyn Jenner, like it seemed like she was legit trans. Yeah. Like you heard the story and like you could tell. Like, she said from like since she was like a little child,
and then felt this thing. And then the feeling. Instead of like being hindered by your brain development, it becomes stronger. Like you become a smarter person, and the feeling increases. And yeah.
Like so, I definitely believe it's real. And here's another thing that's crazy. Like, you have the LGBTQIA plus community, right? I think when it comes to, like, you stop at the T, I feel like the rest of it is just, like, people that are kind of, like, I don't want to say looking for attention, but they're looking to fit into a group. And it goes back to that whole thing in society. Like, we're so... I don't want to say religionless, but, like, we're not a tight-knit community. So people are looking to fit into other communities. And, like, I don't understand.
They just want to feel like they're wanted somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, but that goes back to the point where, like, if you want to be wanted somewhere, like, why don't we just fix society itself and have them be wanted somewhere already?
The whole point was to make people feel equal.
Right. I don't know.
It's crazy because I remember when it was just the LGB community. Obama, that I remember him first talking about it. And then it became LGBT. And then it was LGBTQ, but I thought Q was the same as G. And then it was IA, and then the A stands for ally, which I don't understand.
Another thing is, though, like, they just, like, the left has a way of just, like, pissing people off. Like,
but so does the right.
Yeah, and, like, and it just becomes this endless war between, like, the left makes more people right, and the right makes more people left.
It's crazy.
Like, that's ridiculous. Like, so that's literally happens every day. So how can the left and right literally sit there and be like, oh, we're right, we're fine?
Yeah.
Like, you guys are literally pushing people to be more radicalized by you being radicalized yourself. So how can you just sit there and be like, oh, I'm right and they're still wrong? Like, you're literally obviously wrong at that point.
Yeah.
You know?
Literally after watching
and that goes back to people
to the middle.
Goes back to people just saying, oh, it's my belief, so I'm just going to keep it, you know? Like, they don't want to change at all.
Like, here's me. I try to keep an open mind for literally everything, bro.
Yeah.
Like, anybody who's in the community, whatever, I will sit down, have
Right.
a meal with them. I want to know everything about these people. Seem like they're the most interesting people ever. I'm not a bigot. I'm not anti anything. I'm just saying I don't think it's right that we should push all this stuff on kids at such a young age.
And honestly, the people that disagree with you are more bigoted. Like the people that say, like, you can't say anything bad, like, they're even more bigoted than, like, people that do say it.
If I ever had a gay child, lesbian child, any transgender child, like, you still love this child.
Yeah, literally.
You can't. And here's the thing with people on the right: you can't discourage people from being who they are.
Right.
If that's who you are, all I'm saying is I don't agree with having the surgery. Right away, especially if you're 6 years old.
And this comes back to morals again. You have to have a line. There has to be a line that just can't be crossed. Yeah. We're just losing that line, so we're just going to go into everything.
Especially, like, if you're a parent, if you're not at least somewhat ready for that. And you're gonna, like, discourage that part of your child. You're gonna fuck them for life.
Yeah, literally. Childhood plays a huge role in your entire life.
Yeah, it as long as you look at me, I have parenting mapped out already, bro. I'm 21 years old, but, like, as long as you show them love and you raise them, and you just go through it, making it feel like. You could use tough love, but if they feel like you hate them, it's all bad.
Yeah.
If they truly feel like you love them, then I feel like no matter what they are, you're good. The whole goal is just to raise somebody. There
was this Edgar Allan Poe quote that I saw yesterday. It was like, years of love can be forgotten in minutes of hatred.
Yeah,
so
that's real.
People need to literally just relax and just talk things out and just see the other side. And it seems like this should be, like, common information. Like, people, like, say this, but they don't live it.
Yeah.
They let their mind just attack. Like, I remember I posted, like a purposeful thing about that Roe versus Wade. Like, I was just trying to see what people would even say. And literally, it was just all just attacking attacking my post. Like,
what did you say on your Snapchat?
I said something like, at the end of the Roe versus Wade report, I just said, like, it's like a 2-sentence, like, oh, this seems like this is an excuse for women to be whores. I just wanted to see.
Yeah, I remember.
I just wanted to see what they would say, and, like, I just got
just like a social test,
like a tag.
Yeah.
And obviously, people are going to react, right?
Yeah.
But all the reactions being that of it's a sign to me that when they read the post, their mind went into, like, an animalistic state, and they just said, "Just kill this." Yeah, like, there was no logic or reasoning or any cool down. They
almost
just instantly react.
Like a trance.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing that was scary. I was talking about to my friend. I was like, it's stuff about society. I'm like, what if people just literally can't control it? Like, it's so ingrained that they can't even control their own mind anymore. That's even worse.
That goes into this next thing. So political correctness, right? Kind of in line with cancel culture, but a little bit different. I've been talking about this for a long time. Before COVID, pre-COVID, I wrote a paper about it. And my really all the way to the left professor loved it, surprisingly. So it was interesting. But the fact that when we self-censor ourselves because of whatever government entity or whatever leader tells us to, that's the worst form of mind control. Because the thing is, you think in however you speak. So if you're purposely saying, okay, I can't say this word. I can't say manhole, for example, because it says man, or master bedroom because it resembles slavery. If I'm already saying that I can't say that, eventually I'm going to think that. And then it's already kind of like 1984. They're literally starting to control your mind already. Which is, that book has had a big influence in my life. I kind of feel like senior year, we were, I don't know if you guys read this. Yeah. But like, we were all supposed to read it. It was a course requirement, but I only read like the spark notes. Come COVID time, late 2020, I took like a real interest in it. I didn't read the book. I listened to it, but read the book, and it was so interesting to see like how I wish that I actually read the book back then. And I took advantage of like what was in front of us, because bro, that's a warning sign.
1984, when I finished reading the book, it was one of the few books that I read the end of it. I was just like, dang. I was just like, well, that's interesting. That's actually real. And like, it stirred an emotion in me that I didn't even know I had. It was weird.
When they, Winston is in the center of the town, and they have the banners and the screens. It says, we're at war with, I believe it was Eurasia. And then they literally change it. We're at war with East Asia. And as soon as they changed it, the people, almost everybody accepted it, because that's what was just being crammed down their head. Or 1 + 2 is 4. And if you didn't say that, they would punish you until you believe that. And like, bro, that showed.
Yeah, they literally made Winston believe that the stuff he said, and then they killed him still anyway.
Exactly.
And I was like, yeah.
The last line was, he loved Big Brother. They indoctrinated him to that.
They got him to love Big Brother, and then they killed him.
It was crazy. For anybody that hasn't read 1984, you have to read 1984. That book changed my life. Seriously, I literally question everything now. It's insane. I feel like everybody should question everything, no matter what you believe. Question everything, because like, you never know.
A big part of like helping society is raising everyone to the point where their minds are like solid fortresses. Yeah. Like so it's like your mind should be open to everything. But it should only be of your control. If you're letting things literally infiltrate your mind and change your beliefs, then that's
like sex, social media, everything on the
like
outside.
All the opinions you have come from somewhere, and you should just acknowledge where each of your opinion comes from.
And it's better that those opinions come from you, based off.
It's better the opinion come from you looking at something, you taking it, rather than something that's getting planted in your mind.
Yeah, I agree. Because a lot of people have opinions that are just planted
there. Yeah.
Regardless,
like literally, people would just like, their entire argument would just be like copy paste from like someone they saw on social media.
Everybody on the left, Roe v. Wade is bad, or rather, it being banned is bad. Everybody on the right, the election was stolen, for example.
Like when I like speak and I know this opinion is from someone else, I purposely say this opinion is from someone else. And that's not like me saying that like, oh, I don't think this is well. It's just me saying that like, okay, I took this from him, not he put this in me. You know? Like
everybody toes the party line with like everything. And it goes back to that thing, they're on team red or team blue. It's nuts. Yeah. I don't know how we come out of it other than, like we discussed earlier, like a third party system or something like that.
The thing, like talks like this, people would say that like, well, we can't talk like this forever. But like, this is how I just talk in general with all my friends. So literally, it's not even hard to speak like this. It's just like how I'm like regularly talking to everyone. So like, I don't know, because it just seems like, what else are you talking about? I mean, obviously it's cool to talk about other stuff, but like this is like, I really feel like this is the main thing.
Yeah, this is like shit that's like
stuff that affects you and can help other people like now in the future and like learn from the past and stuff like that.
I definitely feel like in terms of like going back to one of the big problems like for our generation, depression, I feel like legit having somebody that you could talk to. Not a psychologist. I'm sort of against psychologists because like, why should you pay somebody to listen to you? I believe like there's legit psychologists, don't get me wrong, but like I feel like the majority of people are just there. Okay, how do you feel? What are you doing?
A therapist that can actually walk you through and lead you to find things that you wouldn't be able to find yourself, that's good. But most, like, you're your own best therapist. I believe that. Like, you should be able to like sit there and like, okay, I'm feeling this. This stems from this. How can I get rid of this? Or how can I like you know like that?
But I feel like
because no one's inside your head completely. You're the only one that's inside your head completely.
But some people aren't like, they don't have the mental discipline to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why.
But that goes back to the point where we should raise kids to be able to have that strong mental discipline.
Agreed.
Like we're losing that. That's what I'm saying. Like we're like getting weaker.
For me, I always like, if I ever have a problem or like something that I'm questioning, I always like talk to my mom. And like what she'll do is she'll feed me back like personal life experiences. Not saying what I should do, but it gives me a good like good idea of what can possibly happen in a scenario. So I feel like if more people had like that, and going back to like you said, we have more kids growing up in like single parent households. Like for example, if you don't have a dad or a mom around, and then the other parent is just working 2 jobs, you're not gonna have that. Yeah. So they're not set up for success. Yeah. Or, like, being able to help themselves.
Like it's just all coming down to the fact that our kids are getting raised in suboptimal environments, and they're getting raised in it, and they're also in suboptimal like living like societal conditions. They don't know how to handle that, so they just like bend to whatever society is saying, and they just try to conform, and it becomes like an endless cycle of just like these robots being created.
Do you think we would ever be able to get rid of social media, or do you think it'll always be around?
Social media is staying. We can definitely get to a point where people are aware of what it's doing to them. I don't think social media inherently is bad. I just think like what's on it.
Yeah, it's kind of like what we were talking about on the break, where like it's all about what you look at. Like YouTube, if you were to look at like NASCAR, all NASCAR videos, your feed's just gonna come back with more NASCAR videos. But if you look at like, I don't know, school shooting videos, then you're obviously gonna get like these negative feelings and emotions. It's like that's all you see. Same with Instagram. You know, it's whatever you choose to look at. If you're a girl and you just constantly look at models that are photoshopped or they get plastic surgery, and you think that's the standard, like you're not going to feel a certain way. Same if you're a dude and you see guys who take steroids and like that's not natural, but you're pushing constantly for that. You're not going to be happy. So it's all what you choose, but ultimately a lot of people don't have like self-control like that, and they choose the bad thing.
I think another thing is like the social media like models and shit. So I feel like people are becoming more aware about that kind of stuff. But the thing is, it's like instead of like them being like a negative, I feel like they're showing us be like a positive, honestly. Because if you see someone with a body that you want, you should be inspired to attain something like that in your own image, not like trying to get exactly what they have, but you should be able to inspire greatness in yourself, and that's like that's not what's taught. You know, like people need to be like literally sat down. Like kids aren't being sat down and told us. I know they're not, because if they were, this wouldn't be like a discussion. Kids need to be literally sat down and said, okay, this is what you're gonna see on social media. You need to have X response to Y picture you saw, and inspire greatness in yourself, but they're just not being told this.
And this is an idea that I somewhat had, like, if we could get kids to sit down and we truthfully like educate them on social media, whether that be like a class once a week or even once a day, like in school, and like teach them about the pitfalls of social media, the positives and the negatives, and what. And
not even just social media, like literally everything.
We're
not teaching kids anything really. We're teaching them like basic arithmetic and mathematics. Everything else is just kind of bullshit, honestly.
And if you think about it, realistically, what have you learned
everything,
from school that you
like
feel
literally everything I've learned about the world, it's just because I had to just look at it myself and just realize it.
Like I co-own a business, and I go to YSU for business. But like I can't tell you one thing that I learned from YSU.
Yeah, literally.
There's so much more in the
thank God I have a pretty decent intuition. I was able to do it all myself. But literally, like if I was like, it sounds so arrogant to say it, but like if I wasn't like as smart, then I would just like crumble under all society's weight, and you wouldn't be able to like discern for yourself what's happening. Yeah,
it's a crazy world, bro.
Yeah, literally. Jeez.
I have one more point to touch on that I feel like it's kind of interesting. So, throughout, I did a little social experiment, sort of like you. Last winter, I deleted Snapchat for like the app for about a month and a half, and I did this for a couple of reasons. One, because like I felt like mentally it wasn't good. It was too much stress. Yeah. So I got rid of it, and in doing so, I came to a point where I felt like I didn't have any friends. Because if you think about it, like Snapchat is a lot of people's way of communicating. Although it's like a toxic app, like people usually communicate through Snapchat. And so in that time, I was in like group chats and stuff like that, but only 2 people hit me up. And I think both of them were like, it was like Merry Christmas. And my best friend at the time, he didn't hit me up. Like, what's up? Yeah. You haven't been like responding and shit. Like, you good? And I was like, huh. Then it kind of made me redefine like what a friend is, because I feel like in society we use the word friend a lot. We overuse it. What we should say is acquaintance, and in the place of best friend, that should be friend. Because in reality, in society's terms, you only have like 1 or 2 real best friends. Yeah. It's like, how do you feel about that? I guess I'm going to ask.
Every once in a while, I go through my entire list of people I have on my phone. I just call all of them and talk to all of them, and then I can just tell, well, 1, either they pick up or they don't, and then 2, either how the conversation goes, if they're really like a person that I can trust or not. And it's really saddening to see that you have, like on Snapchat, you'll have like 1,000 people, and only like 2 of them will be like real. Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's supposed to be kind of like a social media, but then again, it's like it's more personal, because you don't have like a wall, or like an Instagram, Facebook wall. It's different.
Another thing about Snapchat specifically, it's like people are like, I don't even know. I don't know what they're like. I don't know what they're posting to say. Like, it's almost like they're just trying to just flex their life, and their life isn't even that interesting.
I know that.
Like, it's just like a cool sunset picture.
Oh, obviously, don't get me started with the thoughts.
So obviously, like, okay, so it's a cool sunset outside, but then I see it posted 30 times.
Or the rainbow yesterday.
Yeah. I'm just like, okay, it's cool, but like, what else are you saying at all?
I would assume.
And then there's just also just like endless selfies as well, and then there's endless like, I don't even know. It's just endless amount of posts that are just, the only goal it seems to have is the flex. Yeah. That what they have.
I see what you're saying. No, I'm guilty of that too, definitely.
And it literally makes me sad, because it's like, how can like that be the majority of people? Like, are most of people's minds like there's nothing else really? Like, I'm not even saying you have to post what I post. Like, you can literally just like say something. Like, just say a couple words that aren't like complete bullshit.
Yeah. We could go through it right now, bro.
I don't want to go through it.
No. I want to prove your point, because this is interesting. So, if I'm looking right now, concert, like, don't get me started about the concerts either. Yeah. I feel like when you have people that record concerts, 2 minutes worth on Snapchat. Like, what? What do you do?
Like, literally, who's watching anyway?
What you should be doing, if you're going to do that, save it to your memories for a quick video, but, like, experience it. Yeah. You're literally looking through a phone and experiencing it through the phone.
Or you could talk about, or you could, like, add some, like, genuine words about the concert that are unique to you, because as a human being, you have, like, a unique insight about the concert, how it makes you feel. But no,
gonna help other
there's none of that. There's just simply the the concert and then like, oh, the validation I get.
Yeah.
Oh, I was at the concert last night. Look at me, I'm cool. Like, come on,
I don't know about you, but I tap through the videos.
Yeah, literally,
I don't want to watch.
So nobody really gives a shit in the first place.
And
I remember I posted that thing where like people like didn't even slide up on it. Like, it was like I said that people don't even slide up on the things that I think that people will, like slide up on, like people like girl post like selfies and shit like that. Like people don't even slide up on that. So like people are literally just flexing, just to flex. Like they're not even getting anything from it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's weird. Like they're shooting things into the abyss that wouldn't even get anything back. At least when I shoot things into the abyss, I'm like searching for an answer. They're just shooting out for like nothing, and they get nothing in return. It's weird. They're not even getting clout for it though.
Just trying to get. They're
trying to get clout from it, and they're just failing every single time. They just keep doing it.
It's crazy because I feel like if a girl, for example, posts like a picture on Snapchat, like her in a bikini, she's gonna get a ton of stuff from guys,
like a bunch of like views and stuff.
Yeah,
but none of those guys actually care about her at all.
It's crazy.
It's insane.
If a guy does that. It's like the opposite. They get also a bunch of attention from guys. It's like, good shit, dude. Good job. Like, keep working. It's like, it's interesting.
I make sure when I see a fucking like gym picture, I always gotta slide up or say it. So I say something about it. If I like, literally, for anyone watching, like, if I didn't slide up on your story, then that means like what you posted was like kind of nothing. Because if I see something on a story, I always comment on it. And literally, I'll scroll through Snapchat and I maybe see like one or two things a day that I thought were like remotely interesting. But like, maybe that's just me though. Maybe it's just me. Like, but I don't know how it's just me because I'm just like I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of stuff on Snapchat that's interesting. Only like obviously the girls, unfortunately. But I don't like. I don't see anything that anybody's doing that's like remote.
No, literally, they're not doing anything.
And then you have like influencers like Dan Bilzerian.
Yeah. And
that's all cool.
Yeah.
But it was proven it was all fake.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't trust anything that's going on. So I don't know.
Like even just like a couple words you could say on Snapchat.
Yeah.
Like no one posts what they're thinking, and even when people do, it's like they're thinking this absolute like bullshit.
Yeah. Like I'll put like little.
Like how am I like one of like the few people that are just post? I'm just how would I think sometimes?
Yeah.
Like how am I a minority? That doesn't make any sense. Like how are you not independently thinking?
If people say, "Oh, you're bold,"
like
for saying what
independent thinking is a rare skill. And that is insane.
Yeah.
Independent thinking is a rare skill, bro. Think about that. That's insane.
I don't get it. Why would you want to be the same as everybody else, bro? I just don't understand. Like people in life are like rewarded for being different.
Yeah, exactly.
But everybody just wants to be the same. I don't understand.
I don't know. Like that's what I literally can't understand. That stuff would drive me insane. I actually can't understand.
I hate it. It drives me insane.
And I'll literally post it on Snapchat, and then people will, like they'll see it. I'm posting about you. I'm talking about like the majority. Like I'm literally talking about you. How are you not seeing that you're doing this like right now by not saying anything? You know, it's just weird.
That's one thing that
it's like it's literally robotic behavior. Like it's like not human. It's like soulless.
I'm thankful for COVID, not because all the people died and yell at me, but because like it made me realize like if it's possible that people could take everything away from us, so you can't have any regrets. So if I think something, I'm gonna say it because like I don't want to be however old on my deathbed thinking, fuck, I didn't do this. So I'm going to make a podcast.
That'd be the worst fucking thing of all time.
I'm going to start a business.
Literally.
I'm going to shoot my shot.
I'm going to be rich.
Exactly.
I'm going to be rich. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be successful.
Exactly. And if you fall short, who gives a shit? But at least you tried.
Yeah, exactly.
Same here with the podcast. Like, if people don't like it, oh well, but at least I'm going to try.
And some people will say shit like, well, you only live like 100 years out of the like the infinity of the world or whatever. But the fact that you dared to reach success in the face of infinity, like, come on, like that's crazy.
Yeah, bro.
You go to at that point.
Here's something.
Like, you even tried to just, you fought infinity, dude?
Yeah.
Come on.
Who cares? You're literally trying.
Like, you can either think infinity, oh, I'm just going to give up. Or infinity, oh, I'm going to fight infinity.
Yeah.
Like, one person fighting infinity, like, you have the, like, some of the biggest balls of all time.
Against all the odds.
Literally.
Who cares? It's crazy.
And there are some people that won against infinity. Well, no, not won against infinity, but like won against like human times. Like people from like thousands of years ago that I still remember to this day. Like their names are literally
Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan, anybody, Mark Antony,
George Washington from beginning.
Yeah,
Abraham Lincoln, literally, all of them, like historical figures. Like literally, you're defying time by trying to be great, and I think that's probably the noblest thing you could possibly do.
I agree.
Besides, maybe just trying to start a good family and having a legacy. Like obviously, like your family legacy is probably the easiest thing to do, but like literally trying to be like a human, like time capsule and go through time, like
I feel like that's one of the other when you get to like bolder things.
Like, what else are you doing?
Exactly. There's one. So like, I feel like if you were to die for like a belief, I feel like that's another thing that's like that's right up there, bro. I don't know if I could ever do that.
As long as you die for a belief and it comes some good of it eventually.
Yeah.
Like the people that died for like the ending of like segregation.
Yeah.
Like those
that shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I
because
could do
literally their death was a literal stepping stone to ending segregation.
And like look where we are now. So like it obviously
like you helped literally all of society.
They literally contributed to this
your sacrifice, literally. Like them dying like allowed us to be here, which is just crazy. So you should be grateful.
It's
for that.
nuts, but like if you're dying for the satanic church, what are you doing? I don't know. One more thing I had a question about. So ideally, when you get into this position where you're successful, wealthy, whatever, and you have people, women throwing themselves at you, how do you have you prepared for that already? Like if people switch up because now you have it,
like switch up on me, like try to be like kind of like faking, like try to just do stuff from me,
and kiss your ass.
So literally, I'm probably going to act in the same mode of being I am now, and I'll just play it by ear. I honestly can't predict that far into the future and know exactly what I'm going to do. All I know was what I'm going to do is the best possible thing I could have did on the chessboard and just play it.
I got you.
Possibly.
All right. Do you have anything else that you want to add? Because I don't want to beat a dead horse, but at the same time, you're such like an interesting, knowledgeable person.
Another thing is that being grateful. Like we always say this, but like being truly grateful for things, for the good things and the bad. Like so, there's two things like meditation and gratefulness. They go hand in hand, and people don't realize this. So, meditation is the focus on the absolute present moment, and the easy way to meditate is you close your eyes and you focus on the breath, and you focus on how the breath feels within your nostrils and going through your chest, and you feel the absolute present moment of the breath, right? And you're being present in the moment. When you train yourself to be present enough, you'll get to the point where you can start viewing your mind as like a meta being above itself. So like you're thinking, and you're like, oh, I'm thinking now. And you start viewing yourself. And then literally when you start having thoughts, you start thinking, how can I be grateful for this? And then when a bad thing comes up, that's when you really have to pay attention to that. And you ask yourself again, how can I be grateful for this horrible thing that happened to me? And that just starts expanding your mind, and you start being a much more positive person. That's a really, really good thing to help for your mental health. That's probably one of the main things I would say.
Because like makes you realize like what you have. Yeah, I've been in that situation a bunch.
Honestly, I think being present in the moment is the closest thing to seeing God, honestly. God, that's honestly a decent topic. Like, this topic, like my definition of God. That's voice crack though. It's like, so I know for a fact that God is infinite, right? And depending on how you like personalize God, it can either be like the man in the sky or the universe. But for me, I would say that he is love and infinity combined. So the universe, the way it planned out, right? So like the infinite universe and how the earth is itself is an extreme rarity for life to be on the earth, and human beings probably in the infinite universe, like we don't know this for sure, but the earth, the situation for life and for human mind to be existing like this in consciousness is so freaking rare that it's almost like it's like a statistical anomaly. So for the universe to decide to give us that gift of consciousness, there must be a reason for why we have that small anomaly, because it's just honestly just insane. And I think God lies in wherever that answer is. I can't say what for sure God is, but I know it has something to do with the fact that we are such a rarity. The human, like the fact that I'm sitting here conscious of this conversation right now is such an insane miracle. Literally, like God lies somewhere in there.
There's so many sperm. Like we're the one sperm
literally
that made it.
Like in this like sperm and then going back like trillions of years of sperm and then like to fucking like the trees and shit and then like the rocks and the sand particles like of infinite space coming together in this one tiny little planet to make us be alive here. It's just a miracle. And God, like, I mean, obviously it's like a statistical anomaly, right? Like you say like coldly, but for that to happen, like this, like consciousness itself, like is an absolute miracle beyond it's beyond even our comprehension. So I just think God lies somewhere in there.
Yeah, we don't think about it enough. No. Like literally, I can move my hands and like my brain tells my fingers like what to do, and I can do it. It's nuts.
And with the fact that I'm like knowing that I'm doing it as well, it's just insane.
It's crazy. We don't
think about that. Like there are thoughts like that where if you start thinking about it enough, then your mind just starts like just growing. Back with like the great gratitude thing, your mind just starts growing. You just become a smarter, better person. You just start looking at the world more, and if people just like started like pondering these questions more, they would just like realize that everything is bullshit except like love. Everything else is just all bullshit. It's all love and infinity, and then you just gotta go forward from there and probably be a better person.
Wow.
I don't know. You know,
where can everybody find you? On social media.
On social media, so Snapchat. Let me actually open. No, actually I remember it. It's Osa _ Let me actually look it up. I can't actually remember what the fuck my Snapchat is. I don't. Of course.
We gotta plug everything we can, literally. Bro. I want people to know about you.
I'm going to make a new Instagram though. Eventually, I'm not sure when though.
I got you. When you do, we'll put that in the bio of like the YouTube video and stuff like that.
Let me open the Snapchat though.
I got you. Yeah, bro, because like I want people to know. Everybody I have, I want to promote them as much as we can because like it's the goal. Everybody helps each other out. And I feel like especially like with you, you have all these thoughts that can be so helpful to like people, especially people with like depression, anxiety.
And I don't want people to like look at me like idolize me at all. I just want people to take what I'm saying and apply it to themselves and then grow for themselves, and we all just like sprout up. Okay, so on Snapchat it's Osa _ Osa, but the second Osa, the O is a 0, so it's Osa _ 0 SA. So Osa _ Osa again, but the O
has a 0.
And
do you want to play the current Instagram or no?
Nah.
Twitter.
No.
And then you said
I'll probably plug that on my Snapchat again when I make the new Instagram and stuff. Because I really don't have it really counted.
I got you.
So yeah.
Osa Omoregie, everybody. I pronounced the last name right again.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I hope everybody appreciated this episode. Thank you so much to Tommy. It's been a hell of a podcast. Thanks for coming on. All right.